Hey, Internet, Eric here. And as you can see, I am not alone. I am continuing my little interview series with content creators. And tonight's guest is someone I've known for 20, 25 years,
Has
I
it been
think.
that long? Holy crap.
2001, if not longer. I know that. I know we were working together in 2001 because we were on the clock when 9/11 happened. I
Right.
am here with fellow YouTuber, movie reviewer, retro games let's player, all around lovable asshole, Whitey the White Guy. Welcome, Whitey. Glad you took time out of your life of nothing to hang out with me and shoot the shit again.
It's good to be here. I'm still getting the same business.
Yeah.
Where I'm trying to find the live as well.
Okay. Well, while you do that with your technical problems, I mentioned that when I was sharing everything on social media that it's all Whitey's fault that I'm here on YouTube. And it's a long story. We've known each other again since at least '01. I'm sure we didn't meet each other in school, did we? I mean, I grew up knowing your sister, but you and I don't think we officially met until we were on the job together, correct?
Yeah, I've been racking my brain on that, and I don't know if I don't remember crossing paths in high school, just at Eagle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we worked together at Eagle. We worked at a bakery, and then you moved to Wisconsin, and then you were kind of MIA for me and for a long time, and you just hit me up one night when you moved back in with your pops, and you were doing this YouTube journey. What was it that just made you decide to? Because you we're not going to get into it, but you were at the time making political type videos and social commentary videos. What made you just decide to get into like reviewing movies? Was it just because it was what everyone else was doing, or what got you into doing that?
Um, uh, when I was trying to do, we're still having that issue, but
Okay.
I tried to do political commentary, and part of the problem was I was working graveyard shift, and so a story would break in the evening news.
Mm-hmm.
I would be at, like doing my taking my lunch at like 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 in the morning, whatever it was. And by the time I got home, got some sleep, and got up, I'd literally be talking about yesterday's news.
Right.
And so it just wasn't worth it. And it was depressing as crap. Like the country's going straight to hell.
You can swear on this channel. Don't worry. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. You've been
So
a
I
guest
did,
before. You can swear.
yeah. So I decided to just abandon politics altogether and just do video game reviews and do like happy stuff, which is ironic because then I'm like screaming at the TV because I'll be playing Left for Dead and Coach will just wander off into the woods and get killed. And I'm like, motherfucker. So I'm almost like more angry at the same time. But I'm happier just doing video games and stuff. And I haven't been doing a lot of movie reviews, but when I get some, like I've been beefing up on my tech for like, I've got a laptop sitting on top of a laptop, and I got to me, a refurbished PC tower and then some video games and stuff. But now I got to clean them because my stuff's getting old and doesn't want to work. So it's just like this never ending. You get some views, you get some subs, and then
Mm-hmm.
something else breaks, and you got to
Yeah.
wait a couple paychecks to go get it. So it's,
Well, we had that. We had that was like an ongoing thing when we were either together on your channel or you were over here. You know, the whole Jesus hates us because like every time we get some momentum, we just get
yeah,
kicked in the nuts.
yeah, exactly. We'd get another copyright. So I remember when we first were getting started,
Mm-hmm.
we were maybe like a year in, and did a review on.
Ghost ship.
Oh, no, Ghost Ship did really well. I remember that. But we did John McClane and It's Christmas Time, Die Hard,
Die Hard.
Die Hard. And a year later, like a copyright strike pops up, and it's like that
Mm-hmm.
was a year ago. So it's like if they're gonna do that, and if you get three, your channel gets taken down. It's like how do you? They could pull up two more out of nowhere and
Mm-hmm.
shut down the channel. So it took us a long time to like figure out the algorithm and just how this whole thing works.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I remember because for the longest time I didn't have a YouTube channel. I was
Yeah,
just coming over to your place and we were bumming around either watching good movies, air quotes, movies I enjoyed and you hated, or vice
Yep.
versa, or movies that we both enjoyed. And I remember that we were having a lot of fun. We were gaining a lot of momentum. And that was one thing I wanted to talk about because you obviously, if I said you've been on YouTube longer than me, I've been on 7 years. I mean, you've taken some breaks off and on, but that's probably like the biggest thing. Like, what keeps you going after? Like, what keeps the motivation going after you get those strikes, after you get those videos removed, or you even had a channel, your original channel taken down, and you had to do that? I don't know, rebuttal or whatever it is. Talk to YouTube, however the fuck you can talk to YouTube, and you did get your channel back. I mean, what keeps you motivated to doing it, not just saying fuck it and throwing in the towel?
Probably psychosis. It's probably a mental illness of some nature. I'm actually um part of the fun is like the technology aspect of it. So
Okay.
I do enjoy like I might have mentioned this before. I worked at a hotel in 2013, 2014, and they were finally updating off the like mid 90s Dell computers.
Oh God.
And they were throwing those out, and I'm like, well, if you're just going to throw those away, I'll take them. So they're like, yeah, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So I had like 12 or 14 mid 90s Dell computers running off of Windows XP, and I took them apart and started like taking the terabytes, or not terabytes, the RAM cards, the memory cards,
Mm-hmm.
and mixing and matching, and then seeing like how do I get more memory? How to get more speed out of the computer? Learning like the difference between the hard drive and the operating system, just what the nuts and bolts were.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I enjoyed that aspect of it. So it's like it's both um, frustrating and fun. So it's like some of it's I am picking up some momentum because I was at 300 and something subs forever, and I'm up to I think about 460
Oh,
recently.
nice.
I got a little bump going on. But one thing I do now is I'll be playing like Madden 2005.
Mm-hmm.
I'll live streaming, and then I'll make a big play, and then I'll pull up my phone and record the play, hit instant replay, and record it as a short, and then
Mm.
upload the short,
Mm-hmm.
and then the short will get 250 views or something.
Yeah, I've started getting into shorts as well. I've noticed a lot of times which makes sense, they get a lot more views because it's a minute or less than regular videos that we do. And one thing I was actually going to bring that up. Lots of times your channel itself is so random. You started with movie, the political stuff. Then you got into like movie reviews, and then you were doing them both at the same time. Retro gaming, your home life, because I lots of times I love that video when you went to Malta and that retro pizza place,
Yeah,
that was really fucking cool. And then just stuff around like your home, with the animals and things. One of the things I really liked was I am the farthest thing from a computer nerd. You know
right.
that. You know that.
Yep.
For the longest time I was filming this shit off of my phone and I didn't want to learn because I didn't have the patience or the time. But I always got into the videos where your NES broke down, or there's one where your Star Fox, took a shit, and
Yeah.
it's you taking it apart and fixing it, redneck rigging it, however you want to say it, and making it work. That type of stuff. I always enjoyed more so than the other. So that's one thing that I think you're doing or you did on your channel that you really didn't really see on others. So and then that shows like how much you liked when it comes to like the technical stuff. You always try to figure out how to fix it.
Yeah, I'm still sorry. I'm having trouble. Like, ask me that question again because I caught most of what you said, but it sounds like robot or something.
Okay. The stuff I really liked was like you started, political stuff, movie reviews, and all that jazz. I really liked when you were taking apart the computers, when you were taking apart like the video games and trying to
Okay,
make
yeah,
them work. And I was just saying that that's really neat because you never really saw that on other YouTube
gotcha.
channels. And that was always kind of, I don't want to say breath of fresh air, from the monotony because everyone talks about movies, everyone talks about polished stuff. And I just always thought, me being the farthest from a computer nerd as it is, that was kind of really cool to see because you actually got the shit to work.
Yeah. And that's like the never ending challenge. And there are like I have to go and watch YouTubers that do that stuff. So like where is it? Oh, 1 second here.
Sure.
So here's the aforementioned Star Fox,
Mm-hmm.
and you got the little. See if I can get a look at it. There's the little metal pieces on
Mm-hmm.
both sides of this, and they get corroded, and of course you got the, and so gunk builds up on there. So, give me 1 second.
Sure.
I'll show you.
Do what you got to do.
So I ordered this cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
It's called One Up. Let me get that in front of the camera.
Yep.
And you got two sides of this pad. One's you pour the alcohol on it, and then the other one you dry it. So you pour the alcohol on this, and then you put it in there and try to clean the connectors.
Mm-hmm.
And the alternative is get a screw that I don't have to take this apart. It's like an Allen wrench looking thing, and get in there. And people use ibupropic alcohol, and then a eraser like those little we had in school, and try to clean that off. And so I just cleaned this with this the other day, and I was letting it dry, and I'll find out soon here whether or not that did the trick and it works again, or I just got to go buy a new one. But it's like it's just never ending. The moment you get something going, something else takes a shit.
Yeah.
So it's frustrating and it's part of the fun of it, you know.
Yeah. Because there were many times when we, like I said, we were hitting, when it was just you and I, we were hitting a lot of momentums. We were getting a lot of views. People were coming in. They loved our chemistry, because you're the straight man and I'm the idiot. You know what I mean? Because
I'm the idiot. You're the straight man.
Well, what I mean was like when it came to like the movie reviews.
Right.
Because you love like the historical stuff. You know what I mean? Whether it's like Civil War, Westerns, that type of stuff. I like, killer clowns from outer space, and critters and stuff like that. And that's what people loved. And that's one thing I'm going to bring up now was we had a show that was really on fire. Was what was it called? Holy shit.
Prelude to Review?
Prelude to a Review. And that was a lot of fun because you showed up one day. You literally walk up into my house and you say, Eric, I've got a great idea. We're going to make each other watch shitty movies and we're going to call it Prelude to a Review. I said, what the fuck is that? So you gave me the concept. And of course, me being, I love to torture my friends because you've seen my movie collection. I've got a lot of garbage. It turned out to be the most fun thing that we've ever done, in my opinion, because even though you hated a lot of what I've made you watch, there were some surprises. Like I'm surprised you liked Universal Soldier with Van Damme and stuff like that. But then, of course, you're going to fucking hate Garbage Pail Kids. You know what I mean? And it was a lot of fun because we really tried to torture each other. And I think that's when our best like chemistry came out, because when you got me good, and I would get mad. You were still like the fun-loving, goofy, simpleton type character. You know what I mean? And that's what I think made it a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And what I'm just you being the type of guy that loves Band of Brothers, the Thin Red Line, that type of stuff. What made you come up with that idea of pretty much trying to torture me and, of course, yourself with this Prelude to a Review idea?
I don't remember. I don't remember exactly what the inspiration for that was, as much as that like you're saying, our sensibilities were so yin and yang. And I think we just kind of already done that a few times. And I remember the big one was the 1978 Star Wars holiday special.
Yep.
And I remember we got a lot of comments on it because I was just like, "Oh God, no, not that." But I don't remember the exact. Because how long ago would that have been? That would have been almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, my daughter's almost 12, and that was 2 houses ago, so it was probably at least 10 years ago.
Wow. God, we're getting old as shit.
I know, I fucking feel it. What I loved
Ah,
about doing that again, doing that with you, was a lot of the surprises, because I would feed you garbage, like Howard the Duck, like Garbage Pail Kids, stuff like that, but then out of nowhere, I'd be fucking surprised that you enjoyed Leprechaun. You
yeah.
know, why in the hell would someone like you enjoy Leprechaun? And sometimes all it took was like a Looney Tunes joke of him going through the fence. You know what
Yep.
I mean?
Yep.
And that's another reason why I enjoy doing it, because I really never knew what you were going to hate or actually enjoy. And what I really loved about that concept between the two of us, we would keep a running total of like the worst movies that we would have the other person view. And for the longest time, when you made me watch A Million Ways to Die in the West, with Neil Patrick Harris shitting in a hat, and what's his face, Seth MacFarlane being Seth MacFarlane. For the longest time, that was number one. But what I loved is how almost weekly you would have a new hated movie from me. And one of my favorite memories is when you finally kicked me in the nuts with your choice. And of all things, it was Dune. Perhaps one of the most boring movies I've ever seen. It was like 2.5 hours of just me yelling at you while yelling at the movie. And it was just a lot of fun. And I'm gonna ask you, what was it that made you decide to just call me up and have me come to your house and let's start a YouTube channel like together? Because you're Whitey, and for anyone who knows, it's not because you know, he's a white guy from the Midwest. A lot of people forget that. They see that's why you were called Whitey the White Guy, because you didn't want anyone to know your name because of the political stuff, and then you just kept it. And I was Cracker because I was just a
Right.
a big old redneck boy, and it was you called me up, and we came over, and I think the first movie we ever reviewed, technically, was Catwoman with Halle Berry,
Oh,
and we couldn't even finish it.
that was so bad. That movie was just awful.
What was it? To get you the idea of, hey, let's actually have a movie review show together. Was it just, hey, Eric's the only one I know in the area, or easier to have someone to work off of? What was it that made you think of just having, I guess you would say, a little bit of a co-host?
It started with Cannibal. I'm pretty sure. Because you were like that's how we became friends, was we were talking about movies
Mm-hmm.
and TV shows, South Park. Man, I don't remember if Family Guy had to be a thing at that point, because
It
that
might have
started in the
been.
very late 90s. But we had a similar taste in films and just sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
And so you were like, you got to check this out. And so you're like, you got to check. You feel like South Park,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to have seen something they made. And then you're like, well, if you like that, you got to check out
I think
this.
it was probably like Orgasmo or Basketball might have already been out at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I totally forgot, because we were working the bakery one day, and I was coming in as you were leaving, and I brought you like a bootleg VHS tape of Cannibal the Musical. And that's where we really started to like click, when it was like movies, because you worked the 3 a.m. shift. I came to relieve you at like 11:30, 12. So we had like
Yeah.
5 minutes passing. And then because you lived at the time 3 or 4 blocks from me, walking distance, and we just
Hmm.
started getting together and hanging out and bullshitting. And then we realized that this would be a lot of fun just to shoot the shit and talk movies. But then you went to Wisconsin and came back, and was it just because I was the only guy in the area that you knew to bring me on, or did you always want to get on YouTube to discuss movies?
I remember I was in Wisconsin for 8 years, did that whole college thing.
Yeah.
Not that I was in college for 8 years, but I was, went up there. And then I was in Colorado.
Hmm.
It had to be 2013. And I was thinking about, I want to start a YouTube channel.
Hmm.
And for whatever reason, I didn't. So when I came back, yeah, I probably had pretty well lost track of everybody. And you were like the only guy I knew. But it was like I thought we just had a chemistry where our movies, our sensibilities are similar enough and yet far apart enough. Like we've been talking, that I thought that would work. And I think it does. I think we just, part of the problem is I live in a circus that's on fire. In case anybody at home is watching this.
Yeah.
And it is just one utter chaos after another. And then you're a family man, I'm single, and I work graveyard shift. You work first thing in the morning. And so it's just difficult to get the stars to line up more consistently.
Yeah, because I was thinking, because we're not gonna go into like personal stuff. You're gonna be starting new employment soon, and I'm going to push when you are used to the shift, when you're used to seeing when your availability is. I'm thinking of bringing you onto my channel because I used to be a podcaster. I'm on a lot of podcasts, and I kind of want to do a prelude to a review podcast because I think that would be a lot of fun for both of us, where you would challenge me to watch Mr. Holland's Opus, and then I would have to sit and watch that whole thing, and then by the end of the episode, I'm like, okay, you know what this means? We're doing House of the Dead, and stuff like that. And I think that's missed because I'm not saying this channel would help you get views, but I think it would help with the exposure, and it would show how much fun you are when you actually have the time to make these videos.
Right.
Because again, a lot of the times is you're working graveyard shift, or the monkeys in the circus are causing some problems. That's why I wanted to have you on as well. And another thing that was interesting is what really made you decide to put the video games, or excuse me, put the movies on the back burner and just get into video game reviews? Because for the longest time, even before we kind of, I don't want to say fell out with each other, but like you had your job, which was like 60 hours a week. You were starting to get into collecting like actual physical retro video games. What got you inspired to do that and like just start doing the retro game reviews and kind of holding off on the movie reviews?
I think it's more technology, like how to explain it. Just like the setup for me for video games is easier. Like I popped in Left 4 Dead, and I played that for like 12 hours straight, and streamed for 12 hours straight, and I got 100 and something views over the course of the game. And I don't know, just where my focus kind of went to, and whereas, and so like we're so in the freaking boonies. So there's a place in Rochelle that has physical media, Hope Chest, I think it's called, and they got DVDs and stuff like that. And it's like been on my to-dos to go get more stuff from those guys. Well, then I hurt my back, and it's like that was a little over a year ago now,
right?
And I'm just recently like feeling good physically. I've been out there shoveling, and it hasn't really affected my spine at all. I haven't felt that.
Good.
Whereas for 6 months, my back hurt constantly. And so it was like playing video games. I'd have to go get more movies. And the other thing too is like I would download films with the Pirate Bay, and now I got the antivirus going. I gotta need a drink real quick.
No, go ahead, dude. What you gotta do?
But it's like every time I try to download something on Pirate Bay, my antivirus is like, fuck no, it's downloading a virus. I'm like, I can't do that. So it's a lot easier in recent months to just play the video games than go find physical media, because I can't download it anymore.
That brings up a funny situation. I remember one time when I don't know if it was for prelude to a review or if it was just us wanting to shoot the shit and watch a shitty movie. We tried to do Troll 2.
Yeah.
Movie Troll 2. And we had to download that fucker like 3 or 4 times because your computer was taking a shit because of we were joking around saying how bad the movie was. And again, that was another pleasant surprise for me because you knew how stupid that movie was, how much garbage it was, but there was parts of you that could actually like and appreciate it because of how dumb it was, because the trolls were goblins and they were defeated by a double-decker bologna sandwich. You know what I mean? So
That was, oh my God.
and I'm glad you mentioned how that you had a hard time finding physical media and stuff like that, because I did just mention because I told you I had this plan. When you get settled with the new job, and if you're up for doing this once a month live stream, prelude to a review thing, I've actually got a care package for you of garbage movies and movies that you may enjoy. So you will be able to save your money. Like we have Super Mario Brothers, which you do enjoy. I know you do enjoy that. But then we got garbage movies like for Christmas, Santa's Sleigh, where Bill Goldberg plays a killer Santa Claus. So you're
Goldberg?
Yeah, Bill Goldberg. You've never heard of Santa's Sleigh?
I don't believe I have.
Santa's Sleigh. Bill Goldberg is obviously Jewish. He's a Jewish pro wrestler, and he plays Santa Claus. And apparently, a million years ago, you find out that Santa was actually the son of Satan. And and see, this is a little preview for Prelude to a Review. Hey, Whitey, for Christmas, we're doing Santa's Sleigh. Well, Santa was the son of Satan, and he lost a curling event. You know what curling is, right? From the Olympics, where the Canadians slide the little thing down the ice. He lost to an angel
with the brooms and stuff, right?
He lost to an angel in a curling event. And for a millennia, he had to be Santa Claus, the good guy who would give presents to all the children. Well, now time is up, and Bill Goldberg is coming to Earth, killing children, with Christmas puns and stuff like that. He kills like Chris Kattan and James Caan and Fran Drescher and Rebecca Gayheart in like the first 5 minutes of this. When you see the history of Santa Claus, it's done by like the Rankin and Bass, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer type of animation. So I've got plenty of garbage. You might enjoy this just for the fact that a Jewish pro wrestler is playing a killer Santa Claus. But I have a care package for you that I'm either going to send to you out in the boonies, or when it's not 16 feet of snow, we'll have you over one night.
Oh yeah.
I'm prepared for that if it's still right up your alley. And again, it's all garbage that I've either upgraded or I don't want to fucking watch, so I need to give it to you type of thing. Like we've got the classic Dr. Giggles with Larry Drake as a killer surgeon. You know what I mean? So
Dr. Giggles?
Yeah. So it'll be a lot of fun.
But Mario Brothers has Samantha Mathis.
Yeah, have you seen recent Samantha Mathis, though?
What is it?
Have you seen recent Samantha Mathis?
No, I cut out after 97. I'm like, no.
After Broken Arrow.
Yeah.
No, you know what? One of my favorite things that we used to do, I'm going to put you on the spot. We also used to have a segment on the Whitey the White Guy show called Story Time. And that was always my favorite. I loved torturing each other with the Langoliers, shit like that. But one of my favorite things was, I'm going to put you on the spot, was when you would discuss one of your favorite coworkers, Mr. Sturgis.
Yes.
Can you give anyone watching or anyone watching in the future a brief description of who he was and just one of your regular random Mr. Sturgis stories?
Oh my God. So I was working at a ski resort hotel in the Rocky Mountains in Colorado. Mm-hmm. And it was 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Mm-hmm. And when the hotel was slow, there was nothing going on. It's very seasonal and there's ebb and flow. And so I was the head of security, so I had the keys to anything and everything. Mm-hmm. And there wasn't there was no one there. Nobody's gonna come in at midnight, and then there's no one there was no one looking over his shoulder, and there's no schedule. So it was up as head of security. It was up to me to if I want to sit down for 20 minutes and just stare off in the distance, or if I want to go do a patrol around the perimeter of the building. It was 100% my call. And then I would go up on the roof and take a piss on the roof, or I'd go up there and set my whatever kind of phone technology we had at the time, and just like watch porn or something.
Right.
It was like there was no one to tell you otherwise. One guy would go hit the gym, which I should have done more of. And then the one lady is like, I was like, okay, I'm the head of security. Can we get cameras so I can see what's going on in the facility? And she's like, we don't have those. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm going to go do whatever the fuck I want because there's no one to tell me otherwise.
Right.
Then they hired Henry Sturgis, and he ruined all of it. It was just awful. And he was this short, little, pudgy, weird dude who had this kind of like a lisp. He was like Cartman-esque.
Yes.
And be like, Whitey, why did I tell you that? And whereas I'm, me going back, I'm very introverted. Like I could go for months, not have a conversation with anyone and be in bliss.
I think that's another reason why you and I get along.
Yeah.
I'm very introverted too.
Yeah. But with Henry Sturgis, he had to be talking to someone. And I'm the only other person in the building. So like this wonderful opportunity to have the most chill, relaxed job that has ever existed. And he stuck his dick right in it and fucked the whole thing up. It was just awful. So it's like and then he would do this thing where he'd be like, it's my responsibility to stay at the front desk. So I can't leave the front desk. It says. And then 10 minutes later, he'd be wandering around and shit. And it's like, and so he'd be like, he'd get on the walkie-talkie, be like, Whitey, I need you to go to get me a soda. Can you go get me a soda? And we had access to the kitchen, so we could go get fountain soda, and they'd sometimes make us a shift meal. And so I'd be on the other side of the building, which is a good-sized hotel, and he'd be like, can you go get me a soda? I'm not supposed to leave the front desk. I'd be like, oh, fuck's sake. Meanwhile, he's like 20 feet away. Like, it's the next thing to his left is the kitchen with the fountain soda. So he's like, can you get me a fountain soda? I'd come and get it to him, and he's like, sorry, I can't leave the front desk. And then 10 minutes later, he'd be wandering around aimlessly. And I was like, why did I have to come from the other side of the building to come get you a fountain soda? You were closer than me. And then you're just going to go because you can't leave the front desk. And it's like, you just wanted to punch him right in the mouth. Like it was, and he was always hitting me up for $6 so he could get chew. And then he would,
I didn't know that.
Whatever bullshit line he gave you, he would forget it immediately. And so he'd be like, I need to borrow $6. And then Friday I'll pay back the $6 because, and he'd give you some bullshit story. And then later like an hour later, he'd be like, me and Mrs. Sturgis went down to Montrose and we got this meal at this nice restaurant. I'm like, oh, so that's why you need $6 because you spent your money at the fucking restaurant. Now I got a shell at $6 that I may or may not. It's just like everything he did just drove you up the fucking wall. And it's like, I should be watching porn on a laptop or something. I should be chilling like a villain, just hanging out, hitting them. Instead, every 10 minutes, he's like, Whitey, can you come down here? And then he had to, as the night out, it was brilliant because he literally took the short bus to school. So he was special needs. And they hired him as the night audit. And as the night audit, your job is to do math. And so you have to sit there, all the receipts come in, and you have to line up the receipts. And I don't remember and type it up into reports and stuff. So it's math. And he can't do math. Right. So one time he was like, Whitey. He's like, so he had a customer was asking about the rates. He's like, if I minus this one from this one, how much is that? And it was like $299 minus $266. And he couldn't do it. I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. how are you a night audit when you can't do math? That's your job. And then so you would have to type up all the reports, and then once you hit enter,
Mm-hmm.
it would go through this process. And again, they were like on antique technology. Once that started, you can't stop it. It's going to roll over into the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to get that right. And time again, he would forget to check the printer to make sure I had enough printer paper.
Mm-hmm.
So he'd only have 13 pieces of paper in there for a 44-page report. And you can't go back and fix it.
Right.
So when he figured out how that he fucked up, he would throw these epic temper tantrums. And it's like, that's why I ultimately left. It's like, okay, this guy looks harmless and shit, but one day he's going to snap. He's the type of asshole who's going to come in with a gun.
Uh-huh.
And I'm the only other person here.
Yeah.
You know, so who's he going to shoot? Me. And I try to tell people that, like, that guy. And I'm like, yes, he's a freak. You should hear him when he's freaking out. And he would, like, punch holes in the wall and stuff. And I could go on about the dude, but he was just, like, not all in there.
Uh-huh.
And so that's why I found, and they were going to somebody else had just bought the hotel from the previous owner, and they said, don't worry, you're going to be here year round instead of seasonal. And then they said, fuck you, we lied. You know, you're going to have a long layoff. Well, you're in the middle of Rockies.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know that a year in advance to save up some money for rent and stuff. And that's when I'm like, I'm sick of that, and I'm sick of dealing with Henry Sturgis, and I just took off.
Was he the one excuse me, was he the one that had I'm gonna ask you if you don't have to if you don't want to, but the story, was he the one that was having the problem with the elevator? If you remember what I'm talking about, he was pushing the button of the elevator, and he wasn't pushing the elevator button. It was the hand sanitizer.
No, that was
You want to tell that
I
story real quick?
I gotta find a place that has an elevator, and I gotta reenact this. It's my like the thing to do before I die. It's on my
Uh-huh.
bucket list. That was my old timer named Bob, and
Okay.
I was working for MedSpeed out of Elmhurst, and he was training me.
Okay.
And we had a theory that Bob did a lot of coke because every time he had to look at something, he'd be like, "Let me see if I can get this right." He'd be like, "What's that there? What's that say? What's this?" And so we had their scanners, and we had to scan out all the medical specimens and be like, "What's that tell me?" Like this. So we always thought like he was doing a lot of coke back in the day, and that's why he could only see on one good side.
Uh-huh.
But he told me this story that of course, it's med speed, so we were at a lot of hospitals and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he was sitting there hitting the button for the elevator, and it wasn't opening up. And after 10 minutes, he realized he was hitting the button for the hand sanitizer. And so I gotta reenact that because it's fucking hysterical. I need to
Was
get.
this the same guy that you said you were afraid to ride in the car with because he would smoke while driving and then flick
Yeah,
the cigarette out and it flew out and there's like papers behind you?
we had this little um probably got something like it here, but just a little stack of paperwork and a little
Mm,
rubber bin or plastic bin or something.
right.
And he would sit there and drive. And so one day he flicks the cigarette out the window. It comes right back in the car and lands at her paperwork. I'm like, Bob, that cigarette's in the paperwork. And he's like, what are you talking about? I flicked it out the window. And I was like, no, dude, look back there. So it's like, if I wasn't sitting there with him, that paperwork was going to go up in smoke, and that car
Yeah.
would have been on fire by the time he got back to the office. And then
Yeah.
I told Joker that,
Joker, yeah. Shout
and
out to
then
Joker.
he was like, "Oh, he does smoke in the car." I'm like, "Oh, I thought you knew that."
See,
Oops, I
that's what
stepped in that one.
I don't mean to turn this into like a Whitey story time. It's just kind of fun reliving these moments. I am going to talk about your channel. But one thing, like when we would stream together, is I would get to know these people without ever fucking meeting them. And one person who was a big supporter of our channel was Joker. And one of my favorite Joker memories is, you don't have to tell it. It was the dildo story.
Oh,
Unless
wait,
what?
that's one of the things that um, the YouTube would change the terms of service,
Right.
and then we've got 400 videos where like "f you, f you, f your mom's greasy butt, f you,"
Yep.
and then they're like, "Yeah, you can't have the f bomb on your channel. We're gonna throttle your views. So I can either go in and edit all that out over the course of 400 videos,
Right.
or I can just shut the channel down and start it again.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I'm frustrated with all that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one of the things. Like, I wish I had that.
Yeah.
I wish I had that back. Him telling that story, and it was he was like a supervisor, and he went to go clean one of the vehicles, and one of the female employees had like a 10-inch dildo in the vehicle, and it's like what were you doing? Like while you're
That was a long lunch break.
while you're driving medical specimens up and down the burbs,
Yeah.
where was that going?
Yeah. But that was always fun because we would always just have random segments. There was one time I remember we were discussing the Langoliers, and you flat out called Joker up in the middle of our review because you swore that Joker loved the movie. And I remember something, it's on both of our channels now, and he says, "No, I never said that. And I know I went off on you," type of thing. But those are those little moments that I remember. I remember, I don't know if you still have it, is when you were living with Pops. For anyone who doesn't know, Pops is Whitey's dad, but I always called him Pops too.
Yeah.
Um, he would have this big fire pit, like big brush fire type of thing. And for starters, we thought it would be fun to, sit maybe 5-10 feet away from it and discuss it. And then we realized that was stupid because we were busy just pushing ash off of ourselves by the end of it. But one of my great memories is because Pops, I love him to death, but sometimes he doesn't think. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And there was one time when we were sitting right next to each other, like we weren't filming videos or anything, but we were sitting right next to each other, right next to the fire that he's getting started, and he's throwing all this paperwork on top of it while we have the gas cans in front of ourselves, and you're yelling at him, and he just walks away chuckling. And there's a lot of fun stuff with him because we would just be discussing Dune or Identity or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With the fire behind us, because it did look really cool. But then Pops walks in like he's some homeless guy, who just walked in the yard. He just, stoking the fire and stuff like that. So that's what was a lot of fun, I thought. And those are one of the things that were really cool. And I missed that. And what I'm glad is after you shut down your channel, for some reason, people were stealing our material. There was like 3 or 4 different channels that had our old Whitey the White Guy stuff. And how did you come across finding that stuff? Like, you get shut down for a 10-second clip with no audio of John McClane running through an office building shooting people up, but someone literally takes our footage and uploads it on their channel. How did you find that, and what really went through your mind when you saw that? Because I know eventually we both re-downloaded it and put it on our channel, but what was going through your mind when you first found that out?
I was looking up, I'm trying to remember, I'd done it wasn't, maybe it might have been a Total Recall. It was some review.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to think of which review it was. But I was just typing in reviews for that film. I wanted other movie reviewers and their take.
Mm-hmm.
And I click on one and I'm watching it. And I'm like 10, 15 minutes in. I'm going, this guy's making some really solid points about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I like this guy's style. This guy, he's really sharp. He's on the ball. And then I realized it was me.
What a dumbass.
It was one that I did where you don't see me, you just hear my voice.
Mm-hmm.
And I did the video edits. And I swear to God, I was deep into the review when I realized I'd been listening to myself for some time. I'm like, I was thinking the same thing when I saw that film. And I'm like, what is this? And it was the one was called Uncommon Leader. And I'm like, there was like 30 something of our videos on there. And then Some Black Preacher was the other half of stuff.
Yeah.
So but it was frustrating because I think that was the one that had like my Grizzly Man review on there.
Mm-hmm.
And it had like thousands of views. I'm like, I only got dozens of it. And then I re-uploaded it on I downloaded on Real Player and re-uploaded it, and it got several thousand views, and just comment after comment. And everybody's like, "This is fucking hysterical." It's like, why couldn't I get? That was like the frustrating thing, and why I went through like out and out depression with this thing is because it's like I know I got good stuff on there,
Yeah.
but the algorithm's not. We had to figure out the algorithm to get the material out there, and nobody was selling it. But when they did, and it would get like 5, 10, 15,000 views, like the comment section were just loaded. That was fucking hysterical. It's like, God, years of good stuff. And I thought everybody was like, "Oh, this is shit. We just don't like it." And then instead, it was more like nobody saw it,
Right?
because we just didn't know how to work the algorithm properly.
Derek's here. Yesterday's podcast. I think you would really like yesterday's. I had Derek on as a guest about a month ago. Popping in for a quick hello. He's solo with the kids. He's writing my Mad Balls episode. Have a great weekend. Stay warm. Thanks, Derek. You would really like his podcast, Whitey, because he discussed like retro stuff. Like he right now he's doing like the X-Men and Spider-Man cartoons from the 90s. It's really nothing past like 95 type of thing. And that's one thing that kind of burnt my balls too. Was our reviews really, there was no script, there was nothing planned. It was just two fat bearded guys sitting down and just shooting the shit, whether it's a good movie like Lord of War or a shit movie like Langoliers. And what really got me was when you deleted the channel or the shit was removed for strikes, we would maybe, if we were lucky, get 30, 35 views.
Right.
Even on the really good ones, like the ones we're really fucking proud of, because we didn't really put any effort into it. We were in my basement or in like your bedroom drinking beers and just talking movies. But we would get maybe 35 views. But then when this person, and it happens every time someone steals our material, they would always, like our Independence Day video, like we discussed the original Independence Day on your channel, maybe 50 views. This fucker uploads it, and it's us, like we're on screen discussing Independence Day, 1.5K view. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. You could tell it's not the owner of that specific channel because they're not interacting with the comments. You know what I mean? And that's what really got me, because I didn't know what it was that they were doing differently. They're literally just stealing material and uploading it as their own. And how do you feel? Like, it's going to be weird asking this because you just admitted, Pirate Bay and stuff like that, but who fucking cares? You know what I mean? But as a content creator in this aspect of YouTube, what's your feeling on people like taking material and then uploading it as their own? Because even though the clips is what got you with the copyright strike, you put in a lot of effort. Like you showed me how you did our Gattaca video. Like you would show me, okay, I take this much of a clip, put it here, this much, put it here. And they didn't get copyright strikes. How do you feel about people just stealing material and uploading it as their own for content and for views? I mean, does that bug you, or are you at the point of your life where you just don't give a shit anymore?
I am kind of at the point where I can look back and laugh a little bit, but still, it's like I was saying, like you were saying, we'd get 50, 60 views. Somebody else would get, 2,000, 5,000, whatever. And so I was frustrated with that, but more just frustrated, like trying to figure out, how does the algorithm work? How do you get this material out there so people can see it? And of course, if I had it to do over again, I would have, like I have all this stuff is now on Rumble. And so it automatically goes over to Rumble, however that works. So if I were to delete stuff on here, I can go get it back off of Rumble now. And I wish I had known that 10 years ago. And it's a classic. I wish I knew all kinds of stuff 10 years ago. We'd have a bigger channels by now, because we just had no earthly idea what we were doing. So it's, I'm at a point where I think I got a good feel on how to grow the channel and all that stuff. So it's like once the problem's solved,
Mm-hmm.
the headache is over and I can look back and laugh. But at the time, it was like I was ready to kill a guy. You
Yeah.
know, it's like if I could find this person, I'd beat the shit out of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like I said, because we're gonna go back a little bit now because one things that I really like that you still need to upload on this channel or on your channel is you had a really good video because you like history. You know, you've always been a history guy. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Military guy, Western, stuff like that. Your fact or fiction, I don't know the actual title, but your fact or fiction story about young guns. And I really think that that is something you need to redo or re-upload. And that's one thing that I
Yeah,
really enjoyed because it's a mixture of history and movies. And
yeah,
that goes back into your life. Like you used to, I don't know if they were actually technically student films, but you used to go out and just shoot videos and movies and stuff like that and edit together. And is that basically where this kind of started for you when it comes to like editing, you know, for YouTube was like going and doing like whole movie style movies? Like what got you inspired to do that?
um, man, it's going way back.
Yeah.
Like that's going deep into the core of dementia at the center of
Yeah,
my
if it's too
brain.
foggy.
I went to UWL.
Hmm.
I didn't know what I wanted to do for a major.
Hmm.
And then I was inspired by Kevin Smith. I'd get all his DVDs and watch all the DVD commentary, which was copious amounts. And I go, I want to do that. Um, and I wanted to be a history major at
Hmm.
first, but everybody was telling me like all these people getting history majors can't get jobs because history, the people who teach history don't give up the jobs.
Right.
So I was speaking to the guy the advisor who helps you schedule your coursework, and he was like, I was like, I'd like to do film. Be like, do you have film? And it's like, no, we have TV production. And I wish I did it anyway just to get experience.
Hmm.
But I was like, no, I want to make movies.
Hmm.
And so that's one of the 100 things I look back and kick myself in the ass. It's like you would have networked people, you would have got work. There was the local station. You know who Ron Livingston is
I know the name. Yeah.
for Office Space.
Okay.
He plays Peter in the movie. His sister works at that news station in La Crosse.
Hmm.
And so it's like I could have met Ron Livingston. I'd gone into TV production. I could have met Ron Livingston's sister.
Hmm.
But so they didn't have a film program, so I started just teaching myself basically in the very early years of YouTube
Hmm.
when there wasn't a whole lot, to look up. I would just go in and watch videos of 3-point lighting, shot, reverse shot. So
Hmm.
just start with an establishing shot to a master shot and to a two shot and all that kind of stuff. And try to teach myself filmmaking. And then that's when I got into the technology of it because I'd get like a exterior hard drive
Hmm.
that I would take a clip, edit something together on the software, and then store it on the exterior hard drive, and it was gone instantly. And so I had to learn you can't put what's compatible with what.
Hmm.
And so it's all changed now. It's been fucking hell.
Hmm.
Almost 20 years.
Yeah.
I just realized that. And when I realized it's almost been 20 years since I knew Fresh, like 3 ass hairs just went gray.
I know, man, because oh god, because like I said, I've been on YouTube 7, 8 years, my own. You know what I mean? And then I was with you at least off and on, maybe a year, 2 years, just doing shit on your channel. But you've been doing stuff like way before me. And one thing that, got me thinking, movie wise, I still you need to if you gotta redo it, you gotta redo it the fact versus fiction young guns thing, because I always dug
Yeah.
that. What is it about, is it just because you're a history buff, but what is it about like specifically westerns and like the Civil War stuff that like that brings you in, or the military because you're huge on like Band of Brothers and that type of stuff? What is
Yeah.
it about those three specific genres of film or television that just kind of like draws your attention? You know what I mean?
When I was a kid, I remember Grace and I were watching Care Bears on TV. And
Okay.
we were the one thing we have in common. We're very cynical people, and we're like,
Hmm.
"This is just this is awful." And they're like,
Uh-huh.
"We care," and I'm like, "Ah." And so we didn't come from the burbs. We came from the trailer park,
Right.
and so like we were pulled in more and more like Roseanne when that was
Hmm.
first on the air, because like that's what our life was like.
Hmm.
And so when you had this all lovey-dovey shit, it's like, oh, this is just not. This is not how
Right.
reality works. And so my stepdad went and rented Hamburger Hill on VHS, and I watched that, and I fell in love with that because it's like,
Okay.
this is reality. This isn't lovey-dovey suburbs horse shit. This is real life. And
Hmm.
so I got into stuff like I Red Dawn and
Hmm.
Young Guns. I was never into like when Harry Potter came around. I was like, why?
Hmm.
Like I'm so everybody else would be like into rap music and whatever was popular, and I was into Hemingway and Pearl Jam and Metallica, and
Hmm.
I wanted reality.
Hmm.
I didn't want the fluff and the bullshit.
Yeah.
So I was always drawn to again like Hamburger Hill, Platoon Leader, Platoon, Young Guns 1 and 2, because it had a basis of reality to it. You
Okay.
know, it's a Hollywood movie, so they take their license, but like this shit actually happened.
Does it bug you as a history buff? Kind of like because you were in my buddy's stream, American Werewolf in New Jersey. Shout out to Mike when we discussed the Iron Claw, and like all,
I was watching that one.
yeah, we saw you in the chat, and we appreciate you showing up. Like, but what I mentioned is like with all biopics, they have to remove a character, or like in Young Guns, they combined a character. Like Casey Chimesco's character, I think, was two people, I think, or maybe Dermot Mulroney's character was. But as a history buff, does it bug you like when they do that? When you know like they're missing a specific person, like in Young Guns, when they change history a little bit, you know what I mean? Does it
Yeah.
bug you when they do that, or do you not have a problem with a little bit of historical leeway?
So the big thing there is what's called 3 act structure, and that's something I studied in college on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have your first act, you got 15 to 20 minutes to introduce all your characters and all the themes,
Mm-hmm.
everything that you're going to need to know throughout the film. And then the beginning of the second act, something. So you're introducing your lead character, your hero, who's going to have their hero's journey
Mm-hmm.
and what their everyday is. And then the second act begins when something crazy happens that flips that world on top of its head. So when Marty McFly gets in the time machine and ends up going back to the 1950s, that's the beginning of your second act.
Right.
And then there's events that are going to happen throughout the second act. That's where most of your actiony stuff is. And then your third act wraps everything up.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's points where this type of thing is supposed to happen. So about every 10 pages, you want to have something actiony going on to keep things going. And so that's why you see so many fight scenes in a bar. Every movie you watch is because the writers can't think of anything else to do.
Mm-hmm.
So when you take a historical event, this character did this here and this character did this here, but in terms of the narrative, it makes more sense if you flip them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like trying to think of something with Young Guns.
Well,
So
because I think wasn't Dirty Steve a mixture of two characters? I think.
yeah, the real character was Steve Stevens, and that all those characters really were composites. Because that was the next thing I was going to say.
Okay.
There was actually 30 or 40 guys
Okay.
that were working for John Tunstall over that period of time. But the point I was making with the first act, you've only got 10 or 15 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and to get your audience attached to these characters. So when you go back and watch a film again, there's only 8 or 10 or 12 characters
Mm-hmm.
that have any amount of speaking, screen time and dialogue in an hour and a half long film. So there's not enough time to introduce dozens and dozens of characters. So you're going to take years of events and all these people that were involved and boil it down to 6 or 8 guys. And that's what they did with Young Guns. So you got Steve Stevens with Doc, Billy. Who am I forgetting here?
Charlie Sheen's character.
Charlie
There's
Sheen's character.
Lou Diamond
Yeah.
Phillips.
Chavez.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was like 7 guys, and then that one dude shows up. So 30 or 40 dudes get pulled down to 7 guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then Chavez, played by Lou Diamond Phillips, represents all Mexicans and Hispanics and Native Americans, all ethnic characters
Mm-hmm.
get rolled up into that one guy. And then Steve Stevens was like the dirty, filthy cowboy type. So that type of person got rolled up into him.
Mm-hmm.
And then Doc and Charlie Sheen, they're more educated, a little more cultured.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have every kind of personality type that you would have run into in that period of time gets rolled up into a character. And then thereby, so like in the second one you have Christian Slater plays who?
Arkansas Dave Rudabaugh. I think,
Yeah,
right?
Dave Rudabaugh.
Yeah.
Dave Rudabaugh was in all the events of the first film.
Oh, was he?
But you don't have time, and so was the kid that gets killed. And now my dementia like crazy.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
There's the young guy, and Doc says you took a 14-year-old boy straight into his grave, and the rest of us straight to hell. The 14-year-old boy and Dave Rudabaugh, they were there for all the events of the first film.
Okay.
But there's just not enough time to introduce all those characters, so they got pushed over into the second one.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 14-year-old boy was actually, in real life, he was older than Billy.
Okay.
But they made him a 14-year-old kid for dramatic purposes.
Mm-hmm.
So I typically see the film first, and then I go look up the historical events. So while I'm watching the film, I'm like, hey, this is great. And then I go look it up, and I'm like, oh, they move shit around.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you've seen, what was that one? Did you see the one with Johnny Depp and dementia's kicking my ass? He played Dillinger.
Public Enemies.
Public Enemies.
I saw it once when it first came out. I don't remember too much.
It was okay. It wasn't great, but Giovanni Ribisi's in it, so I love anything Giovanni.
I know.
Ribisi.
I know you do.
But and that one, what was his first name? John Dillinger.
John, yeah.
He goes into the police station and sees all his cohorts that have been killed.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you look it up, he actually died before most of them. So and the movie starts with Babyface Nelson getting gunned down, played by Channing Tatum.
Okay.
And then in real life, Anyway, it's Pretty Boy Floyd. Sorry, it's Pretty Boy Floyd, played by Channing Tatum. One of the first things that happens is he gets killed. And then in reality, he died after Dillinger did.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a couple other people that are killed in the film. I think it was Babyface Nelson gets killed with Homer Van Meter. And it's like they died in completely separate places under completely separate circumstances. And then it all got compressed together.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, but they all died. John Dillinger died before most of the guys in the film did. And then in Young Guns, it was at the end of the film, Steve Stevens gets killed, and Charlie Bowdry. And I don't even know that Steve Stevens ever got killed by anybody. And Charlie Bowdry died in the events of the second one, where Doc Skurlock gets killed.
Okay.
And Doc Skurlock and Chavez, they get killed in the second one. Both of them lived to be old men. They died of old age.
Yeah. I mean, I get that because, like I was saying with like the Iron Claw, like I'm a wrestling guy. So I knew the Von Erich history going into it. And I understand that if they kept that other, this would be in the fifth brother, you know what I mean? And again, they all died of suicide. If we had a fifth brother and we had to get to learn them and their struggles, that's at least another half hour, if not more. And the movie's already 2 hours and 12 minutes.
Right.
So I get that. I was just wondering, because history is your thing, if that ever bugged you, if there was like a major historical fact that they took out of a movie or condensed or removed a character that ever bugged you, but you just sit and roll with it.
I can't think of any examples, but I do remember.
I remember we were talking about Little Big Man once, and it really kind of ticked you off because they got some stuff about like the historical facts of Little Bighorn wrong, but
Oh, they got nothing correct.
okay.
Like again, you have a 3 act structure. So when you get to that point in the film where you're killing off Custer, it's 5 or 10 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
That fight was like 3 hours long,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the frustrating thing. It's like people get that impression that this was an in and out quick, and it wasn't. Like the Custer element of the fighting lasted for 3+ hours, and it was like a bloodbath.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just kind of frustrating. It's like, if I was in the military and I got killed doing my job,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want people to say, oh, it only lasted 20 minutes. And it's all misinterpretation
Mm-hmm.
of what the warriors who saw it said. So there
Mm-hmm.
was, I don't know if you want to go too much in this one,
No,
but
it's up to you.
there was Kicking Bird of the Lakota Sioux.
Mm-hmm.
He was years after the battle. They did these what do you call them when you dementia is beating the shit out of me. Like when after you graduate high school, every 10 year reunions,
Reunion.
they had like a reunion kind of thing that the warriors who were there and the cavalrymen who were there would get together, and reporters would show up and ask questions and take pictures. And so Kicking Bird was asked, what was the fighting like? And he said it was a hard fought battle with heavy casualties on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And then the reporter pointed to a map on a spot labeled G, and he said, what was the fighting like there? And that was Last Stand Hill. And he said it was over as fast as a hungry man could eat his battle.
Mm-hmm.
His meal.
Mm-hmm.
And so what he's talking about is like the final phase when the last handful of guys were going down.
Mm-hmm.
That lasted 10 to 15 minutes. But the battle, he said it was a hard fought battle on both sides. And when he got there,
Mm-hmm.
all of Custer's guys were on Last Stand Hill. So he's shown up for the last hour
Mm-hmm.
of stuff in the fighting, not the previous two. So before that, Keogh's battalion would have been at Calhoun Hill, South Keogh sector, North Keogh sector, and then moved to Last Stand Hill. So if there's a half hour fighting each of those, by the time you get to Last Stand Hill, it's already been going on for an hour and a half
Right.
plus. Instead, in all the books, it'll say, yeah, it only lasted 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said that for every one of his warriors that were killed on Last Stand Hill, he picked up a stick and put a stick in his hand. And when he was done, he counted 36 sticks. So in all the historical texts, it said Custer only killed 36 guys. But in the next sentence, it says, he said, but the Cheyenne took, many more Cheyenne got killed.
Mm-hmm.
So how many, there's 2 different tribes there, the Cheyenne and Lakota Sioux.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot more than 36, according to Kicking Bird, got killed that the Cheyenne took casualties. Well, how many tribes are there? 15.
Mm-hmm.
So there's still 13 more tribes. So if if the Lakota Sioux had 36 dead, and let's say the Cheyenne had add them together, it's 100. And then for every of the other tribes, you lost 10 guys. That's 100. That's 230 guys
Mm-hmm.
as an estimate. So in one sentence, you have a difference between 36 and 200.
200. Yep.
And so that's why your college professor and your high school teachers tell you to go to the original source material, because people are like, oh, it was lasted 20 minutes and he only killed 36 guys. When it lasted over 3 hours,
Mm-hmm.
and there were hundreds that were wounded and killed. And that's just with Custer. The other 2 battalions fought for 3 days
Mm-hmm.
on Reno Hill. They were rescued on the battle took place on the 25th. They got rescued on the 27th.
Mm-hmm.
So there was hellacious fighting going on all over the place. So when we go watch Little Big Man, and it's like a handful of guys fired a few shots and got killed, and it's like,
right.
Dude, that fight went on for hours.
Yeah.
It was a knockdown, drag out fight,
Mm-hmm.
and all the evidence supports that. But people have that perception of Custer. There's that line in We Were Soldiers, like Custer was a pussy. Custer had 200 guys and he took on 2,000.
Mm-hmm.
And it took him hours to bring him down.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a pussy. That's the ultimate badass.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really frustrating. That's like one of the few things I get upset with. It's like, this guy he took on a city effectively, and he lasted for 3 hours plus. and this is the perception after fighting through the entire Civil War, he goes from second lieutenant, brevet second lieutenant, all the way to brevet major general. He makes major general at the age of 23.
Mm-hmm.
That's unheard of outside of royalty, and he was a common guy. He got into West Point. His dad was a German immigrant. He had no connections to anybody. Yet he gets into West Point and then doesn't even get to complete his training because the Civil War happens and they send all the officers in training out to fight, to the units to fight. So he doesn't even get to complete his training, and yet he goes from second lieutenant, the bottom rank, to major general in the span of 4 years. And he goes from 19 to 20. He's 23 years old. He's a brevet major general. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That is unheard of anywhere. And the perception it has is that he was a pussy and a coward and incompetent. And you'll see stuff on YouTube, the worst general in history. It's like, no, he was the best general in history. He was the best officer that our species has known, but people can't read and comprehend. So I have to deal with this shit. So I'm driving down the street in my car, motherfuckers, it's like fucking fuck all day, every day, because people don't know how to read a book.
Yeah. See, people, just because we're bearded and living in our attics doesn't mean we don't know history. And of course, Custer had, that very successful pornography Atari game that we're not going to talk about.
Custer's Revenge.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that.
Was that Atari?
That was Atari. That was Atari. Yeah, that's for another day.
I've never actually played it, but I'm familiar with it.
I'm not going to play it. I've seen enough of it to realize that we're not going to give it any limelight. I'm winding down a little bit. I got a couple more things to ask you to shoot the shit with. I'm going to fire out some names because we're mainly, you and me, our connection is movies. This is going to be word association. You can answer as positively, negatively, long or short on anything I throw out at you. And it's going to be mainly movie-wise. Filmmakers, Steven Spielberg.
Spielberg is incredible, of course. My mind goes straight to Saving Private Ryan, and we could spend an hour on that. Mm-hmm. Saving Private Ryan looked amazing. Fantastic performances. Dumbest fucking movie I've ever seen in my life, historically speaking. Nothing that happens in that film makes a lick of goddamn sense. Like, nothing they're doing would anybody do. Like, the whole story would never happen. Mm-hmm. So they would never send a squad, which is effectively what it was, a squad, to go get one guy who isn't a POW, who isn't MIA. That would just plain simple never happen. And then they send a captain. So they, with D-Day, these guys were training for months. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, we're going to take these guys off the missions that they need to go accomplish so we win the war, to go find this one guy. And then you're going to take a captain and send a captain. It's like, never. Mm-hmm. So what really happened? They waited till the fighting was over and they sent a couple guys in a Jeep to go pick them up. Mm-hmm. And the thing that drives me nuts, it's like, why didn't they have radios? Mm-hmm. All these problems get solved with one radio. So it's like, there's the scene where they're like, they find a guy with a broken leg. He's like, I don't know where they're, but they had the same rally point as us. It's like, you could have called up his CO and been like, James Ryan. Yeah, we're looking for James Francis Ryan. You seen this guy? Oh, his rally point is over there, and skip all of that. Uh-huh. You know what I mean? Now you know where his rally point was, so you can go to that spot. And then they're like, the guy's like, James Frederick Ryan of Minnesota. What if my brother's? And it's like, radio. Mm-hmm. Like, it's World War II. You have radios. Mm-hmm. Everything that happens gets solved with a fucking radio. It's the most frustrating goddamn. So Spielberg, brilliant filmmaker, brilliant story. If I made that film, it would be boring as shit because it would be historically accurate. So he knows how to make a film happen.
Okay. I love that tangent. I wasn't expecting that. How about Christopher Nolan?
What the fuck with his great films and everything, but there's that scene in the third one.
Dark Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Rises,
Yeah.
where they're charging for it, and all these people are getting shot, and it's like 4 guys get shot, and nobody bleeds, and it's like, I get it, PG-13, you get the Batman film, get the kids in the seats, but it's like somebody will get shot and just fall to the ground. It's like, okay, you're shot in the gut.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna take you 3 days to die from that.
Mm-hmm.
You're not just gonna bang and fall over.
Yeah.
And there's no blood anywhere. But other than that, like Inception, I thought was really good.
Okay.
And I asked my dad about it. He's like, I didn't get it. And it's like, I fucking knew you wouldn't get it, dude. I fucking knew you wouldn't get it. Of course you didn't get it.
I miss
thought
Pops.
Inception was really cool. I liked Inception a lot.
I miss Pops. You're gonna have to tell him hello next time you talk to him for me.
Absolutely.
Carla Hernandez, welcome to the channel. She loves Little Big Man. You know, I remember.
Wait. The porno or the film with Dustin Hoffman?
I think she's talking about. She's not talking about the Atari game. Oh man. Okay. Let's go to Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of his work.
Okay. He did the Shining. He did Full Metal Jacket, 2001: Space Odyssey.
I've been wanting to bring that up for a good couple years now. There was this YouTube video. I gotta go find it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas one of those like alternate theory ones.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, everybody's got their 2 cents about what exactly was happening in the hotel. And this one made sense because this one guy's theory, really well laid out and put together, was that it wasn't the dude who was going nuts. Jack Nicholson wasn't going nuts. It was the missus. She was losing her mind.
I've never heard that theory.
And so when you had all these little things, like the chair is there, then the chair isn't there, it's because when she first walked into the building, she doesn't remember that chair. You know, like false memory. And then all the stuff when he's like at the bar talking to the ghosts and stuff, that's her psychosis. So this is how she's perceiving things, not what's actually happening. So there's a scene where he's sitting there typing, not the famous one where like he freaks out. He's sitting there typing. She sees something and she walks away, and it's like, then you see him with like a puzzled expression. It's because all she did was she's imagining shit. So all she did was walk up, stand there for a few minutes, and then walk away, not say anything. And that's why he had a puzzled expression on his face.
Really?
So I got to pull that up and send a link. I got to go find it because it was a while ago. But I thought it was really well spelled out. Like there's a pattern in...
Hey, Phil.
Yeah, how's it going? There's a pattern in like the stuff on the wall. Like you do one pass with the camera and it's this way, and then you do another pass with the camera and it's different now. And there was like, this is Kubrick telling you what's really happening. And so I thought of all the different theories about that one, I think that's my favorite because it makes more sense that the bitch would lose her mind. Then because it's kind of, that's the problem I've had with that movie is it's like, I don't remember how long they were there before he snaps.
I'm assuming at least a month or two.
Yeah, I was supposed, and it's like that dude's too well put together. He wouldn't snap. Like that would take him a year. That would take him a while.
Okay.
But her losing her shit makes more, the way they establish her character at the beginning, it just makes more sense that she would just not be able to handle the isolation. And the film goes, there's little stuff like I think the little kid gets hurt and like a nurse is looking at him at the beginning.
Yeah, because he has his little seizure or whatever, and then they mentioned that
right
that in a drunken rage he kind of grabbed him and kind of broke his arm and dislocated his shoulder or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
And there's just little things about how she reacted. She's much more tense. She's much
Junebug.
Junebug, what's up, buddy? She's much just like frantic and like not on solid footing in the beginning of the film. And it just makes more sense that she's the one who snapped.
Okay.
To me than him. And so I'll go try to find it, but that's my favorite one of those theories. Like what's Stanley Kubrick saying? And so if he's saying bitches are crazy, I love this movie.
Yeah.
If he's saying it's like Jack Nicholson snapped, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me. This is bullshit.
Okay.
So if it's a commentary on women being nuts, like I'm all over it. It's a great film. I
And
hadn't had another
that's where we
experience.
lose our female viewers to the channel. Well, Carla, thank you for hanging with us. Um, you're well known for saying that you are pretty much stuck in the 80s and 90s when it comes to film and TV. I'm going to take a chance throwing this director out there towards you. How about Zack Snyder?
Zack Snyder, he did 300, right?
Yes.
I thought that was pretty good. He did. What's the one he did with the superheroes? And he
Man
got
of Steel.
Rorschach.
Oh, Watchmen.
Watchmen. He did that one, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty good, and it's interesting to like watch other people's reviews and like, yeah, Watchmen was a letdown. It's like I thought it was good, and that's so. But I was really again like where my politics are in worldview. Like I was digging Rorschach, and they killed him. I'm like, you motherfuckers, you dirty motherfuckers, you dirty rat. So yeah, he's a didn't he do Sin City?
No,
Was
that was
that
Robert. That was Robert Rodriguez.
okay? Yeah, I got that wrong.
Okay.
But yeah,
I'm
he's
gonna.
talented. Zack Snyder's a talented actor.
I'll throw out a couple. I'll
Director.
throw out a couple actors that I know you like or don't, and then we'll go to some movies, and then we'll close it up. One of our favorites. What's it about Sam Rockwell?
I love Sam Rockwell.
Yeah.
He's been in everything.
Yeah.
He was in. I don't remember if you saw the one about Jesse James.
No, I wanted to see that one.
Yeah, it was the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like you had me at Jesse James. You didn't need, but he was in that and he did it really good. Everything he's been in, he's done a really good job with.
Yeah, I absolutely love him in the Green Mile.
Yeah,
and Lord of War. I loved him as the little brother in Lord of War. And we'll go off that tangent. What about Nicolas Cage?
Oh, I love Lord of War. He was
Yeah.
There's good Nicolas Cage and there's bad Nicolas Cage.
Could you let's we're gonna put Whitey on the spot. Tell us the difference between good Nicolas Cage and current Nicolas Cage.
How much coke has he been on lately? What's been up his nose this week, Nick? He did one with Tim Robbins. I did a review on, and it was they come back from the war in Vietnam, and Tim Robbins is like a mute.
I don't know.
I gotta look that up. The really young Nicolas Cage.
Okay.
He still had hair.
Okay.
It was something Birdie, something about Birdie, because that was the Tim Robbins' character's name. But it's like you gotta go way back for like Nicolas Cage had hair, and like a lot of it.
He had talent.
And he was, it was, I'd have to watch it again. But I remember the performances being pretty good. So it's like Raising Arizona, Nicolas Cage, Lord of War.
Leaving Las Vegas.
I gotta, that was Bruce Campbell was in the Hotep.
Bubba Hotep was Bruce Campbell, yeah.
It's on my to-dos. I'm sorry. I have failed you. I haven't seen Bubba Hotep.
No, you failed me decades ago, my friend.
a long time before just today.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to throw a couple movies out at you. Be completely honest. The reason why this one stuck out is it was one of your best editing, and it's the one that kind of fucked you over with YouTube and made you give up for a while. Die Hard.
Yeah, Die Hard. I gotta go watch that again. It's been like a long time. My favorite thing is, I think it's like the Asian dude who's been in all these movies. And he's like holding on to position or something with his gun, and then he reaches for the candy bar. Remember that? Like nobody's looking, so he steals the candy bar. Where meanwhile they're after like $500 million or something. But yeah, I gotta go see that again. Fantastic film, and of course that's where we got the dad from Urkel.
Yeah, Reginald VelJohnson.
Yeah, man, he's a good actor.
Yeah, he's really good. And now we're gonna be mean. We're gonna pull from a prelude to a review for you, Howard the Duck.
Howard, more like Howard the fuck.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get over we said it 10 times in previous videos. Gilbert Gottfried, R.I.P. Gilbert.
Yeah.
Should have. That's where they should have got the voice from. It makes so much sense.
Hmm.
I don't know why they didn't do that. I
Yeah.
didn't like the voice of the duck. I didn't like
Yeah.
the actor they got.
Out of all the things in that movie, it's the fucking duck's voice that got you.
You really need to get that right. And it just didn't feel right. And then Tim Robbins was being so over the top
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah.
And I was like, the pros, I don't know. Tommy Swerdlow was in that,
Hmm.
and I'm a fan of that guy. He was in Hamburger Hill, and he was in the first Chucky movie.
Hmm.
There was the main cop, and then his buddy,
Right.
who comes in at the end, and he's like, and the guy's like, "Do you believe me now?" And he's like, "Yeah, but who's gonna believe me?"
Right.
Tommy Swerdlow, and he was in Howard the Duck, and
Okay.
he wrote Cool Runnings.
Wow, that's a deep cut. Couple more. 1978 Star Wars Holiday
Oh
Special.
my god, we gotta do this again. We gotta go
We are,
revisit
like I
this
said,
stuff.
once your work schedule gets settled
Yep.
out, we'll pick one day a month, and we'll bring this back. And if you get more comfortable, we'll do like a couple times a month. But the 1978 Star Wars Holiday Special. What
It's
memories does that bring to you?
it's like a waking nightmare. Like it was so creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's like, is this for kids,
Mm-hmm.
or is this some kind of satanic cult thing? Like, what am I watching? There's something about the setup of all the different Chewbacca's, where the Wookiees, they're just like they look creepy as shit.
Uh-huh.
And then what was going on with Mark Hamill? Do you remember that?
He got in a car. He got in a motorcycle or a car accident in between the first Star Wars and this, and I think his scars were still a little fresh, and maybe they were trying to hide it under makeup. But he looked like he had jaundice because he was orange. You know what
It
I mean?
was.
And
I
shout out to Carla Hernandez in the chat. She has just given me an idea for prelude to a review. FDR American Badass. That was right on the heels of Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. FDR American Badass is the hell is his name? It's got Lynn Shay in it and Bruce McGill. And it's all about uh it's it's
Bruce
literally
Bruce McGill. Guess what Bruce McGill was in?
Animal House.
Bruce McGill. Are we talking about the same guy?
Yeah, I hope so.
He was in Dune, dude.
Oh, that's why I don't fucking remember it. But FDR is played by Barry Bostwick, Eleanor is played by Lynn Shay, and Kevin Sorbo plays Abraham Lincoln in a marijuana induced fever dream. And it's a lot of fun. And thank you, Carla, that is coming to Prelude to a Review.
This is not my planet. Disappointed. Kevin Sorbo reference.
Last movie I'll throw out at you. We'll end on a happy note, and then I got a couple more questions, and then I'll let you go, buddy. This was a surprise for me. This was one of your preludes to me. I thought I was gonna fucking hate it. Best of the Best.
Oh yeah. Did you hate it?
No, I loved every bit of it except for what's his nuts, Chris.
Yeah, one of your hangups, Chris. It was
What's his fucking last name?
oh my god. Sean Penn, Chris Penn.
Chris Penn, yeah.
Chris Penn is Sean Penn's brother, Chris.
Yeah.
R.I.P. That dude was a fantastic actor.
He was, but I remember just hating him because he was the stereotypical honky tonk racist redneck, and he didn't have any redemption at the end that I remember.
Yeah, and I disagree because he's the guy who started the comeback. They were getting their asses stomped, and he was like he tied with the guy, and then they had the tiebreaker, but he was the one that like changed the momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And then Doc Hawk was in that. The skinny guy with the glasses, and he's passed away.
Yeah, I remember.
That's what's sad.
Eric Roberts was great. James Earl Jones was fantastic. So that was a surprise. That was a lot of fun.
But you're right with Chris Penn's whatever his character name was. He's like the guy that makes the least amount of sense. It's like, why would this rednecky country bumpkin care about karate?
Right.
And then if he's gonna learn karate enough to go play in this tournament and beat out all the competition to be like on that roster, did he learn nothing philosophically about karate.
Nope.
So it's like we got to put the redneck, racist ish, not horrible, but like ish,
Right.
in the film. And it's like the character just doesn't make sense at a karate tournament. It's like karate is like passive, like peaceful, and find balance in the world, not violent and angry and stuff.
Right.
So,
yeah. So that was a pleasant surprise. I ask everybody in my interview series. We're gonna get a little bit more. We're gonna get a little bit morbid right now. Okay, you're walking the Green Mile. All right, you're on your way to the electric chair. I don't know. Maybe you killed someone who remade one of your favorite movies or something like that. You can start with an appetizer all the way to dessert. There are no limits. What is your last meal on this earth?
oh, that's a good one.
You can, like I said, you can start appetizer, main course, dessert, drinks, whatever you want. What is Whitey's last meal?
Mashed taters. Gotta have some mashed taters. Good helping of mashed taters, macaroni and cheese. Because I never stopped being a 10-year-old boy now. Gonna have some. Let's see. I had to go with some pork chops. So I'm eating like I'm back in the trailer park, but I'm it's my last meal. It's kind of like let's say goodbye, and 2 liter soda and a nice helping of some strawberry ice cream, and then I'll throw in a bag of tater chips. What kind of tater chips?
Sour cream and onion. You look like a sour cream and onion type of guy.
Man, if it's going up my butthole, but I'm trying to eat it. Let's see. I'll go with the Cool Ranch Doritos. Cool Ranch.
And then I'm assuming that 2 liter of soda is Mountain Dew.
Did I say 2 liter? I meant like 4 2 liters. I'm gonna take my time. No, oh boy, that's a good question. Coca-Cola or Mountain Dew? But if I'm going with the tater, I gotta go Coca-Cola.
Okay.
It's my last time out. Yes, sir. That's my food.
That's a big surprise from the days when you would show up with Taco Bell and Subway.
Yeah.
And eat it while we're filming in my basement.
Oh yeah.
Anything?
If I eat Taco Bell as they're walking away, I'm shitting myself.
Well, you got to shit yourself dying anyway. So
yeah. Do I care that I shit myself, or am I trying to be a
you might have throw in those little extra spices while you're at it, right?
Yeah. I might eat Indian food just to make an extra mess, Taco Bell and Indian food and just like destroy the place. That's a good idea.
That's awful. Anything you got planned for the channel when the chaos from the circus and the job doesn't throw everything in a whack? Are you going to continue doing retro video games? Anything new? Going back to movies? What do you got planned for your channel?
Yeah, you brought it. Well, we got to get back in touch once I get my, because I know it's pretty sure it's 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. but I don't yet have.
Mm-hmm.
And when you work in a hospital, there's no days. The hospital's always open.
Mm-hmm.
So you get this weekend off. You're on this weekend.
Okay.
If you work Christmas, you get Thanksgiving off, and vice versa. So everything is every other. Mm-hmm. So I'll have to get that schedule before I know which days I'm working.
Okay.
And if it's going to be consistent or if I'm going to be bouncing around. But just this is my 4th tour on my 3rd hospital. And I'm back in the fucking ER. I don't know. I've lost my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But once I get that schedule, we got to do more of this.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I'm hoping is, because 22 an hour full time, and you always get overtime.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get the fuck off the farm.
I know.
I need to get to somewhere closer to work.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
But I do want to get more into these, and I want to get more into video editing again.
Okay.
And working the camera again. That's something we got away from, and I think the algorithm and kind of like the YouTube terms of service and stuff, I think they're not hitting you as hard for movie reviews like they were. So that was the thing that drove me away from editing is just like you, and you were telling me for years, like, dude, just do a simple setup.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting hit with the strikes. And so,
And you did. You got away with it for the longest time, and then Die Hard from a year ago bit you
yeah.
up the butt. So
And that was there was just that once we got in the game, they just kept changing the rules and never clearly defining what you could and couldn't do anymore.
mm-hmm,
So it's like you were walking on eggshells in a landmine field and
mm-hmm,
just waiting to get hit with something else. Just
yeah,
ridiculous. So they seem to have let up recently,
okay.
I feel.
Anywhere you want to promote social media where we can find you? I know you're not really on Twitter very much, other than or you could just promote your YouTube channel. Anything you want to
Yeah,
promote social media wise?
it's just Whitey White Guy. Well, it's show, isn't it? Whitey White Guy show. Whitey White Guy show. We were going back into nostalgia. It used to just be Whitey White Guy.
Uh-huh.
So Whitey White Guy show on YouTube, and then I'm on X.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have it over there. And I'm on Rumble and Odyssey, but there's only so many hours in the day.
Right.
So I'm primarily on YouTube and X, but mostly it's just like I'll just send copy and paste a link onto formerly known as Twitter. That's
Yeah,
so weird.
I still call it. I still call it Twitter. No one's ever gonna fucking call it
It's
X.
not X.
No one's ever gonna fucking call it that.
X. It's like when Puff Daddy became P Diddy, and who was the country star who changed his name? Billy Ray Cyrus became this. Chris
Oh no,
Matthews or something.
Garth Brooks became
Garth
Chris
Brooks.
Gaines. He
Chris
became
Gaines.
the mopey Chris Gaines. Yeah, the
It's
emo
like,
guy.
dude, talk about a stupid as shit idea. It never worked.
Well, we've been going for over 90 minutes. I didn't expect us to go that long. I'm glad you put up with me, Whitey. It's been fucking months, honestly, since we last streamed.
Yeah.
And I think it was on your channel. We talked about Slam Dunk Ernest for some fucking ungodly reason. I don't remember.
That might be close to a year. Like it was warm outside. It's been a long time.
Yeah, I think it has, because I'll watch the way I word this for legal reasons. It was before the back injury. You were here. And then you had because you had the back injury and the legal stuff hadn't started yet. And I remember you had to kind of cut it short because your back was starting to get real tight and we had to get going. So, but I'm going to say probably about a year, maybe at least 6 months. At least 6 months.
Well, we've been saying this for almost, how long have we been doing this?
1 hour, 37 minutes.
No, years, man. 2001. We started in 10 years.
Yeah.
November of 14.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost 10 years. But I'm going to say it again. We got to do this more often. we got to do this more often. Yeah. But I'm never deleting anything ever again, unless it's already on. Like I'm on Rumble, and so like I said, everything goes over and stores on Rumble. And so if I ever take out a couple videos for any reason, they'll still be over there, and I can always go get them back from now on.
Yeah.
So that's my plan.
I'm going to say this was fun catching up, dude. It really was.
Absolutely.
We got a little bit of a history lesson, which I thought was kind of neat. It's like I said, it shows that bearded dudes that live in their attic do know what they're talking about. You just have to get past the mounds and mounds of beard. I want to thank everybody in the chat, here and past, Carla, Phil, Junebug, Derek. Go to Whitey the White Guy. After here, I'm going to edit, and I will put the link to his actual channel in the description below after I get done here. Give him a sub, watch some of his stuff, leave a comment, show him some support. He's a good dude, because if he wasn't, I wouldn't be wasting my fucking time for over 20 goddamn years, 25 years. We've already established that. Go ahead.
When you say 25 years, the lower hanging testicle like flips with the higher hanging testicle every time you say that.
Well, because I go back to 2001, because we were both on the clock when 9/11 happened, and that's the go-to year for me. It might have been 2000, but we're going with 2001. That tragedy brought us together.
It did. A lot of people died so two fat asses could talk about movies.
And on that happy fucking note, I'm going to say thank you to Whitey. It's been a blast. Like I said, we are bringing back Prelude to a Review. It'll be in a live stream format when he gets situated with the monkeys in the circus and with the job situation. We will be talking about movies like Dr. Giggles. We will be talking about Santa's sleigh. We will be talking about. Let's see what else I can fucking dig out of. Oh, here's a classic one that I know you fucking love.
I don't even have anything sharp to kill myself with.
Earth Girls are easy. I remember you loving.
Yeah,
you're loving that one, and some other random fucking garbage. But and then to cleanse the palate, we'll talk Super Mario Brothers.
There you go.
But Whitey, it's been a blast. Thank you to everybody in the chat, and I'll see you in 6 months, right?
Yeah. see you in 2025.
Yeah. And here's
I'll see you at the old folks' home.
Yeah, we're already fucking there, brother.
Oh my god.
All right. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, buddy.